94.3 The Dude is very grateful to our men and women in uniform. We're proud to recognize local members of our military by turning the spotlight on them right now in our Soldier Salute.
I'm your host, Sergeant First Class Retired Don Sorensen, and on today's Soldier Salute, we've got Staff Sergeant Chris Church, the Readiness NCO for the South Carolina Army National Guard's 246th Army Band. Chris, tell me about yourself.
Sure. Thanks again, Don, for having me. I'm originally from Buffalo, New York. Joined the Army right out of high school, and all through high school, I played music. Music's just been a part of my life, especially jazz music. So out of high school, I joined the Army Band and was stationed at Fort Stewart, which is just outside of Savannah, Georgia, with the 3rd Infantry Division, deployed as a musician in 2003 with the 3rd Infantry Division, part of OIF 1. The entire division left Hinesville, Georgia, and we were in Kuwait. And when we got there, we took all of our instruments, definitely didn't play anything. We ended up doing a lot of convoy security missions. The second time I went back would have been in OIF 3, which 2 years later in 2005, and that's when we really got to know what it truly means to be a military musician. When I got back from those deployments, decided it was time for me to get my music education degree and find myself in South Carolina. I joined the Guard 246 Army Band and pursued my music degree there. Started to play more music that way. Once I finished my degree, I was able to get the full-time position here with the 246 Army Band, and really has been loving it absolutely since. I play drums, I sing, and it's just it's a pleasure to be a military musician.
Chris, while you were deployed with the Army Band, you had a moment that brought it all home for you, didn't you?
I did. I was a lead singer in the rock band. I was only 20 years old at that time. We were playing Southern rock music, Leonard Skinner. I think I was singing some Three Doors Down because I thought I was really cool. We would play this Leonard Skinner tune called Red, White, and Blue. And not super well known, but there was a guy that had just come off the front lines doing whatever he was doing. Came back in, shed all of his gear. We were singing our song, doing our thing, and this guy just starts weeping, and he just starts singing just as loud as he possibly can to this same tune that we were playing. It was really that moment I was realizing, what we're doing really is helping these guys that are out there either feel like they're back at home or letting themselves emotions just release so that they can feel some sense of themselves at that point in time. So that was, just one great kind of moment in time when we were able to play for this guy, but we had a salsa band, we had an R&B band. We were using these bands to, get people to dance, get people to not realize where they were in the middle of Iraq in this super hot, crazy desert, and really being able to just bring them a sense of home and a sense of being while they're out there on deployment.
Chris, I know when I'm in a place where I feel like I need something more, I turn to music. Do you find that to be true?
Definitely. I've been turning to music and playing music for my entire life. And after deployments, I found myself both listening to it to get away, and then I was able to play it. So that was something that I was doing, but I was almost doing it without really thinking about it. I had some survivor's guilt and I had some post-traumatic stress stuff that was going on in my life, but for some reason, I was able to cope with it a little bit better than some of my friends that were having and going through the same thing, until I realized, and this is now years later, that it was drumming that was definitely helping me cope through all of those times. I'm excited to hopefully within the next year be bringing some more drum therapy here to the Midlands area, both at the VA and guys that are having emotional times with whatever it is that they may have gone through. I've learned that drum therapy has helped me, and I'm excited to be able to bring that and help other folks too.
Do you have to be a drummer to use drum therapy?
Not at all. Not at all. I've seen some guys not be able to talk about their emotions at all, but I can give them a drum in front of them and they can use sticks, use their hands, use whatever it is to help bring that emotion across through the drum. And then we kind of get into a groove and we start playing together, and all of a sudden there's already a connection there because we're both vets, but now add that drum and that music thing to it, and it feels awesome. And at the end of it, everyone feels so much better.
Chris, this is just like any other job in the military, right? You go home, take off your uniform, pop a top, and you're not a musician anymore.
No way. That is not the case. I'm a drummer at heart. I like to try and sing, and so when the uniform comes off, I am putting on my Soda City Brass Band shirt. Mark Rapp and I started this band called the Soda City Brass Band, which is a New Orleans-style brass band. That is some of the most fun that I have. We play every Friday night at Pearl's upstairs here in Columbia from 10 to 1. Come check it out. But playing jazz, being able to play with other musicians in just a party atmosphere, it is absolutely so much fun to be able to do after I've worked Army things all day long. And you can check us out on Facebook, Soda City Brass Band. We'd love to see you out at Pearl some night. So this brass band, we've only been together for about a year and a half now, and we've already played, everything from the Taste of Newberry to the Cola Jazz Fest, and we're getting ready to play Piccolo Spoleto this weekend during June. Super excited about how quickly this band is going. Besides myself, there's 3 other military vets are currently playing in that band as well. So playing across all of South Carolina, we've really had an opportunity when we were in Newberry to play with Wynton Marsalis, and he came down and sat in with us. That was probably one of the top times in our Soda City Brass Band time. That last year we played the State Fair right here in Columbia, and they did this big thing for New Orleans style Treme Indian music and the Mardi Gras Indians, and we had 2 Mardi Gras Indians come down and play with us while we were there at the State Fair.
Chris, when a lot of people hear jazz, they think elevator music. Is that what you're playing out here?
No, that's not at all what we're playing. The Soda City Brass Band had somebody come up to me early on and say, man, this is jazz I can dance to. And from my point of view, as long as there's people out there on the dance floor, we're going to continue to play for them. And with the brass band, it swings. There's some stuff that swings, but it's kind of funky at the same time. As long as it sounds good and what I'm doing makes people dance, that's all I care about. But jazz sometimes does have that stigma that it is elevator music. And all the way back to my high school days playing in a big band, I've never felt that way at all. And we've got a great group of artists here in Columbia that are playing jazz all over town, and you can check it out at colajazz.com. And we've got jazz that happens, whether it's straight ahead stuff, whether it's a little bit kind of avant-garde out there a little bit, whether it's the brass band, which is just, like playing hard funk, kind of stuff. You can definitely find it here in Columbia. What I've really found is all the other genres of music that I also like to play, whether it's rock or pop or country. A lot of that stuff that I learned when I was learning how to play jazz really just works over into all those other genres as well. So what you might hear, in a jazz club, it might not sound the same if you're at that country bar, but I tell you what, there's a connection there.
Chris, a lot of our listeners know that the National Guard, a unit might get together at one location or another and do some normal training. But that's not how it happens with the band, is it?
Yeah, not at all. Our annual training is a lot more mission-focused, if I'm using my Army words. Mission for the Army band means that we're going to go out and have performances. So we're getting ready this summer to have about 4 days of training, but in those 4 days of training, we're just going to have music rehearsals with both our ceremonial band, which is going to play like Sousa marches, with our big band that's going to play World War II kind of stuff. We've got a New Orleans style brass band that's going to bring some real cool funky stuff, and then we've got an awesome southern rock country band that plays covers from Skynyrd all the way to Bruno Mars. After those couple days, we take that show and we go on the road. We travel all over South Carolina, everywhere from Rock Hill to Hampton to right here in the Midlands. We do that all the way from June 26th through July 4th. We have our big July 4th concert that we do up in Greenville for part of the Red, White, and Blue Festival. But right here in Columbia, we'll be playing at the Lexington Ice House Amphitheater on Friday, June 29th. That'll be at 7 o'clock. And then one of my favorite gigs that we do in the Army Band is right here at the Soda City Market on Main Street, right in Columbia. We'll be there on the 30th of June at 9 o'clock. Find us on a street corner and enjoy some Army Band music.
Chris, in my past gig as the marketing director for the National Guard, one of my best events that I ever had was out at the Darlington race, and you brought a rock ensemble, and you guys just blew it away. If someone wants to do that, how do they get to be a part of something like that?
Well, really, the first way is just to get in contact with me or find your local recruiter. Tell them that the National Guard does have a band and to give us a call. I have a guy that's working full-time right now, and he can, set up an audition. But for that race that we did in Darlington, we took a rock band, and it was guitars and bass guitars and drums and keyboard, and I think we even had some horn players. But the Army Band isn't necessarily a pinhole genre of music. We do everything from Sousa, and we have piccolos and clarinets and French horns and tubas, all the way to like that rock and roll group that you're talking about, and everything in between. We try to be able to play all genres of music, which is something I love as a drummer here in the Army Band. One day, like this past weekend, we played the Highland Games up in Greenville, and I was playing marching snare drum. During AT, when I get out there, I'm going to be playing drum set in a big band, and then also playing, drum set in a rock band. There's so many different possibilities for you to play music and make music as a military Army musician. That is the best job in the Army, hands down.
Thanks for joining us in our Soldier Salute, presented by Little Pigs Barbecue. Serving Columbia since 1963 with that bodacious buffet. By Lexington Guns and Shooting Range, veteran owned and operated. And by Love Plumbing, Air, and Electrical. Love to help you love your home.